Good day, Ypsilanti. I'm Kalisa Bath with KB Wins Community News. Today we're cutting through the political noise and looking at what was actually said and what was completely dodged at the recent City Council forum held at the Brownie Chapel Church. From homelessness to local reentry funding to our schools and the conditions at the women's prison, we heard a lot of promises about starting conversations, but Ypsilanti doesn't need more talk. We need receipts. We need accountability. We need real action. Let's get into it.
Number 1, homelessness and reactive politics. Let's first call out the shift from systemic solutions to reactive politics. When a candidate admits they've been in the city for nearly 2 decades, but only stepped up when the crisis touched their immediate peer group, that's not proactive leadership. That's personal convenience. The 18-year reality.
It's my direct community. My loved ones, my peers are falling into homelessness in Ypsilanti. Housing insecurity has always been a factor in my life. I was a renter here for 18 years before becoming a homeowner, and that is what activated me around city politics, because I was facing a lot of rising costs and intimidation from landlords that were becoming very powerful in Ypsilanti, and the city government didn't seem to be responding to any of those issues. And so I was getting together with other tenants that were my neighbors and starting to talk, like, what is going on here? Like, why is the conditions changing so much? And why are some of us falling into homelessness? So it's very personal to me. And it's largely why I have feel that we need new leadership, because I do feel leadership has failed for the last 10 years on this topic.
If it takes 18 years of living in a city and direct personal impact on your own circle to notice an unhoused crisis, that's not community advocacy. That's reactionary politics. And let's not forget the funding pass-off. Leaders repeatedly claimed, "We don't have the funds," and kicked the responsibility down to non-profits. What should have been asked directly was, what specific budget line items are being allocated right now? And why are local tax dollars relying entirely on outside grant cycles? Number 2, re-entry funds and municipal accountability. Brian Foley raised a critical flag. Money intended for local re-entry services isn't staying local. You don't need a multi-year task force or expensive consultants to figure out where money went. You need a simple financial audit and ledger check. It's not hard. Follow the money.
I mentioned I work with the nonprofit, and pretty much the nonprofit that I work with, we deal with returning citizens or persons who have been convicted of a crime, who had felonies, and they could not find housing, and a lot of landlords wouldn't rent to them because they're criminal past, what have you. So I had to navigate the systems to go ahead and find people housing, temporary shelter, and permanent housing. And what I found out in this community is that, in particular in our county, there is a lot of opportunities for housing, but we have to make sure that Ypsilanti residents get the first attention first. I believe in people who need the most help should get help the most. So what we have to do, I believe, is that as a city and being on city council is to make sure that the resources are available here, that make sure that our residents of the city of Ypsilanti get first access to that instead of other people coming in and take advantage of the resources. And then when we need opportunity, there's nowhere for us to go. As far as homelessness, I believe there's 3 degrees of homelessness. Those who are generally homeless, those who choose to be, and then those who choose to come downtown and give the appearance of they have nowhere else to go. And then a lot of behaviors are created behind that, and a lot of misunderstanding about who those people are, and a lot of negative perspective is put on people who really need help, and then they get caught up in the system. So we really need to address and help the people who really are homeless and get them. Resources are available, we just got to get them to it.
I'll echo a number of comments that Mr. Foley just made, but I would say we certainly have to recognize that there is a role for different community actors in different community situations. Public safety is a critical issue in lots of our neighborhoods, in places where encampments are next door to to neighbors and neighborhoods in our downtown area sometimes. And where one of my early efforts to address this issue was met with certain people coming and shutting down city council when I had the temerity to suggest that perhaps the police had at least a role to play in keeping certain behaviors out of the public sphere. We had people that were openly selling drugs in areas. We had people engaging in sexual acts in the middle of the day downtown. We had people throwing feces at storefronts. And I thought, you know, there is a role for the police. And there is an element in this community that thinks that it's not okay to ever call the police. And so we need to have that kind of a conversation, I think, and what role the police do play. With regard to housing, one other issue that I don't have time to mention, but the best way to keep people from needing housing is to make sure they don't lose their house in the first place.
When community leaders say they don't know why funds meant for Ypsilanti residents are going outside Washtenaw County, the solution isn't another panel discussion. It's an immediate audit. The community needs to demand open books. Who is overseeing these sub-grants? If non-profits receiving county/city backing cannot show a line-item distribution proof for Ypsilanti residents, the contract needs to be frozen immediately. Number 3, Ypsilanti Community Schools. Outreach versus outcome field days, photo ops and high fives don't replace curriculum, life skills, or functional literacy. While candidates talk about building self-esteem, real community initiatives like local author and literacy programs, trades, and home economics are being ignored or rejected while the school-to-prison pipeline stays active. While they are appreciated, photo ops don't pay bills. Visiting a school for a field day lets politicians feel good, but it doesn't teach a high schooler financial literacy, vocational trades, or how to publish a book. Washtenaw County, openly rejecting solutions. Grassroots community proposals, like mine and others, centered around local literacy/authorship programs, get shut down, while district leaders repeatedly ask for more time for dialogue. Here's the pipeline metric. We don't need another conversation about education. We need to know why functional life programming is being cut while district metrics lag behind. Number 4, the Women's Huron Valley Facility and public transparency. Women are literally dying inside Women's Huron Valley, and public officials are hiding behind access-denied excuses. If an elected or prospective leader gets turned away at the door while others walk in, that is a red flag on both institutional bias and political effectiveness. You don't ask for permission from a system you're supposed to oversee. You use public record laws. There are no excuses for gatekeeping. If a candidate claims they couldn't get in to inspect a public facility while others had open access, we need to talk about who is being stonewalled and why. FOIA overpromises. The horrific conditions at Huron Valley aren't a secret. They are documented online and in state reports. We don't need politicians to look into it. We need Freedom of Information Act, FOIA, requests, pulled on incident logs, medical response times, and death reports right now.
Field days, task force, and study groups aren't going to fix decades of systematic issues happening in our city. When politicians tell you that they need 5 more years to look into something, to discuss something that's happening right in front of you today, remember, the data is public. Again, the data is public. You don't need to continue to ask questions. Go get the information. It's public. Stay tuned. Stay informed. I'm Kalisa Bass with KB Wins Community News. I'll see you in our next broadcast.
KB Wins Community News, the only news that protects your right to know.